建筑会线上的朋友们，大家下午好，欢迎您来到每周四的建筑会公开课，我是主持人 Lily。对很多朋友们来说呢，房子的好坏和居住质量可以以非常直接的标准来考量，比如说颜色的搭配啊、装修的风格啊等等，再比如说房间的结构、空间的利用。但是我们今天要聊的主题呢，是一般大家看不到的，也就是水管。这个看似不起眼的小件产品，其实就像建筑的血管一样，可以直接的影响水压、水质、水流噪音等等，与我们的生活呀可以说是密切相关。今天我们请到的嘉宾呢，是来自德国品牌 REHAU， 中文名叫做瑞好。这个在1949年就建立的公司，其实除了水管这个拳头产品之外，还有许许多多的产品名录，比如门窗啊、供暖系统啊，甚至家电和内装。再包括在中国之内的这个上百个国家都有非常广泛的应用，可以说把德国人严谨创新的理念发挥到了极致。那么在今天的公开课中 Fred 我们大洋洲的首席执行官将在直播的前半段为大家带来关于 REHAU 的创业故事以及创业理念。 Steven 呢是我们新西兰的建筑科技经理，将会在直播的后半段着重的讲解 REHAU 水管的产品以及在新西兰项目的应用。Welcome to our webinar, friend Steven. Just wave that out at our audience if you want to.
Hello.
Hello. 很高兴邀请到两位到我们的直播间。同样呢，我们今天也会有一个问题准备给大家，就是 REHAU 的产品是什么产品是在新西兰第一个发布的 ？REHAU 的什么产品是在新西兰第一个发布的？如果您知道答案的话呢，一定要注意关注我们今天的直播，然后我们的直播详情页会有我们的二维码，您可以扫码加入群聊，并在直播结束之后去参加群内的抢答。那么现在我将分享一下我的屏幕，然后Fred 将会开启我们的前半段关于 REHAU 公司的讲解。Okay, Fred, I'm gonna start to share my screen if you wanna get ready.
Yes.Yeah,
just whenever you're ready.
Yeah, 谢谢 Lily。大家好，下午好。感谢你看下今天活动。我的中文名字是白维的。我工作在德国Rehau。我是德国人，我住在墨尔本，在澳大利亚。So welcome everybody. And I'm very happy to be here with you and spend the next 15, 20, maybe 25 minutes giving you a little bit more information about REHAU as a company. And my apologies, my Chinese is not good enough to do the whole presentation in Chinese, obviously. But I'm happy to have Lily here, and she will jump in and make some translation. But I will speak a bit slow and easy, and give you a nice presentation here. For the next time, I would like to give you a bit more background about REHAU as a company, but I actually like to do it in a little bit different way. I will not just give you a normal, but I would want to give you a presentation about disruptive and innovative business models on the example of REHAU and on the example of the REHAU success story over the last 75 years. And I hope that there's also some information for you to take home for your businesses, for your divisions, to just start thinking, processing, and maybe think about doing things in a different way with a different outcome. And I want to give you a lot of examples what REHAU has been doing in order to become the company that we are today. First, maybe a few words about myself. I'm German, as I said already before, so I grew up in Germany. I studied in Germany and the US. Working for a large German company, spent some time in Africa, in South Africa and Nigeria, and about 15 years ago joined REHAU in the headquarters in Germany. Spent there a couple of years, then went to the Netherlands, being responsible for the construction side of our business for the Benelux countries, so Netherlands, Belgium and Luxembourg. Did that for a couple of years. In 2015, I had the opportunity to go to China. So I lived for 4 years in Shanghai, but I also had the privilege to travel all over the country. So I've been in all the tier 1 cities and also most of the tier 2 and tier 3 cities, which was an absolutely amazing experience for me to go there, see the different cultures, have partners all over the country, and really get a very good impression of China. So I really enjoyed my time over there. And about 3 years ago, I was asked by my company to relocate to Australia. And since then, I've been the managing director for the Australia and New Zealand business for all of REHAU's operations. So what you see, I've spent time in a lot of different countries. So I'm not the typical German anymore. I have some German background, but I've lived all over the place. So for me, it's always important to be close to the markets, close to the customers, and really develop products and services based on customer requirements. And I think it's very important to be at the places where you offer the products. So that's just a few words about myself.
That's lots of experience, and I really appreciate that you shared. You spent 4 years in China, because the audience today will mostly be Chinese. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they will really appreciate that as well.
Yeah, no, I had an amazing time over there. I still have a lot of friends. It's we really unfortunate with the border closures and Corona, but I was there at the moment. It's been a little bit over 2 years that I was in China, so I'm just waiting for the borders to be open to be able to travel again. So I really missed the time over there.
Finger crossed, everything crossed.
Okay. Yes, good. So before I talk about what REHAU, I just want to ask a few questions here in the audience. You don't have to answer it, obviously, but have you ever asked yourself, why do we need change? And then also ask the question, for example, why was the iPhone not invented by telephone companies? Why was Airbnb not invented by the hotel industry? Why was Skype not invented by the telephone industry? And why was Uber or Didi not invented by the taxi industry? And the answer is that we cannot predict what change will happen, and we cannot predict who will be the next one to completely disrupt existing business models. But I think we all agree over the last 10, 15 years that a lot of new companies came up that disrupted existing companies. So if you go to the next slide, Lily, there's always the risk of a game changer. And I think we as a company, or companies, also you, we always need to think, who is the next company who can destroy our business? Or if we go to the next slide, we can turn that around and basically say, can we maybe be the game changer? Can we be the one disrupting other businesses? And this is just the introduction now to talk now a bit about REHAU, because this is exactly what we have been doing as a company in the last 75 years. We always looked at existing products, services, business models, try to do it in a completely different way, disrupt it, and have in the end a better outcome for our partners and end consumers. And maybe just a few words, how did we come up as a company? So REHAU was founded 75 years ago in 1948 in a very small city in northern Bavaria. And actually the city is called, or it's a village, it's called Rehau. And this is where the company is also having the name from. And the company wasn't started as a polymer company, but it was just the time after the Second World War. The Second World War ended in 1945. And a young man called Helmut Wagner, just coming back from the war, wanted to study, wanted to do something, but universities were destroyed. There were hardly any jobs. Germany and also Europe was mostly destroyed. So he then realized that his mother had some shares in a leather factory in the city of Rehau. So he then decided, let's start in the leather factory, processing leather products. And doing that, he had a lot of contact with chemical companies because you need some chemical products in order to process the leather. And then immediately talking to the chemical companies, he learned about this new material, which was not widely used at that time, called plastic. And coming across plastic, he immediately said, that has a lot of potential. We can use plastic for a lot of products. Nowadays, it's common knowledge, and we all know that, but at that time, it wasn't widely used. So that was his idea. So he bought one simple extrusion machine and started with 2 other people. So with 3 people, they set up a little office in that leather factory and started extruding very simple plastic products like garden hose, like some profiles, and some easy products for the car industry. So this is how the company actually started in 1948. And slightly, you can see a little bit how we were growing. And don't worry about all that detailed information there. It's a lot. So we started in 1948, but very quickly, our company founder, Helmut Wagner, realized that there's a huge demand for our products, because all of a sudden he was able to offer a product at a very low price, but with superior functionality. So he was replacing leather products. He was replacing wooden products. He was replacing metal products, all with this rather inexpensive material, plastic. And at the same time, the whole of Europe needed to be built up again after the war. So we grew significantly, very quick. So within a few years, we had offices all over Europe. In the 1960s, we went to the US, in the 1970s to Asia, and in the 1990s also to Eastern Europe, Russia, and we also entered the Chinese market actually as early as 1992 with our first office in Guangzhou. So we've been also there for a long time. So we expanded a lot geographically, but we also developed further in our product range. So we went from rather easy, simple products to more and more sophisticated products, always keeping in mind how can we replace conventional materials with plastics, and by that give it a better function, better properties for a more competitive price. And that recipe was very successful. So today we are a global company. We have sales of about $5 billion a year, and by now about 25,000 employees in over 100 countries. And we just opened our 50th factory for REHAU products. So that is the basis. And if you go to the next slide, Lily, these are our three main business divisions that we are in at the moment. So a big part of our mode, and if you drive a German car, you're very likely to have REHAU products in your car. So if you see that bumper there, for example, from that Mercedes car, this whole bumper as it is, as you see it there, that's how it's leaving our. So about 40% of our business is the bumper business, and we are the main supplier for all the German luxury brands like Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Porsche. So that's a big part of our business. Our second big part is what we call the industry division, where we have a lot of customer-specific products like profiles, or also what you see there, even some products for the space industry. So we have actually products that travel to space. If you're on the flight with any of the Airbus planes, it has the REHAU products in there. So it's very customer-specific products that we offer to a wide range of industries. And even if you're interested in the Olympics, the ski jumping slope, that is a slope developed and built by REHAU. So we are very diverse in that regard, always focusing on what's the need, what's the advantage for that specific customer. And the third big part, and this is where we are in, that's our industry, is the construction, where we are a world leader in PVC windows, but also in the plumbing and the heating area. And what I show here is the Allianz Arena in Munich. So this is where Bayern Munich is playing. So that's one thing I learned in China, that most of our partners, they love Bayern Munich. It's not a team that the Germans specifically like because they're too successful. So normal German is always against them. But I know that outside of Germany, people love Bayern Munich. And at that arena where they play in Munich, the whole pitch heating is all done with REHAU underfloor heating. So under that grass you see there is about 70 kilometers of heating pipes. So that is also a big business of us, but that's only some part of the business. So this is just to give you also an overview how diverse we are in our product portfolio. Next slide is, and this is one that I really like, that comes again a bit to the core of what we are doing, questioning the status quo, thinking what can we do different. And if you look at the left side, this is how cars usually looked like until the 1960s, 1970s. So the whole car was done, the whole body, out of aluminum, including the bumper. And to have a bumper out of aluminum, has a lot of disadvantages. It's quite expensive, that's the one thing, but it's also heavy, so it needs more fuel. But also if you have a little accident, and even just a small accident, the aluminum is not really forgiving. So you need to fix and replace it immediately. And it was actually Rehau in the 1970s, specifically in 1978, who built the first polymer bumper for any car worldwide, at that time for a Volkswagen car. And today, as you see there, this is the standard. All the cars are done with polymer bumpers. But again, it was a Rehau invention for Volkswagen to switch to a polymer bumper for the cars. And I think that picture just captures it very well. What's the past? What's the present? Good. If we go now on the next two slides, I have selected two products that are a little bit closer to our industry. So I know that you are all from the construction side of the business. The ones of you who are also more familiar with plumbing and heating will know exactly what I'm talking about. Otherwise, maybe Lily, you can make a little explanation also in Chinese afterwards for that slide and the next slide for maybe the audience who's not 100% familiar with our pipes. So what we are seeing here, even there in the past, most of the pipes were done with copper or steel or even lead. And in 1967, there was a new polymer pipe developed by a German professor called Engel. It's called a PEX pipe. So what is a PEX pipe? It's a polyethylene pipe or link. So the X always says for cross linking to make the pipe exceptionally strong. And it's a pipe you basically cannot destroy. It's as robust as a steel or copper pipe. And that was invented, the technology, in the late 1960s. And Rehau started as one of the very first companies to mass produce these pipes. So if you look at all the companies around the world that are still active, Rehau is the first one that ever produced a PEX pipe. We started about 45 years ago producing it, and we have a lot of experience, as you can tell. So if you now put all the PEX pipes together that we have produced and installed in the last 45 years, you could travel from Earth to Moon about 7.5 times. So that's the amount of pipes that we have produced. All in all, about 3 billion meters worth of pipes, which is half a meter almost for every human being living on this planet. So we can really say that we have, but we were also very early in the game. And over the last 45 years, could master the production technique of making the PEX pipes. So this is one good example from our industry where our company founder, Helmut Wagner, saw the need. This is a great material. This is a great pipe. Let's go for this and let's change the market. And nowadays, everyone knows in plumbing and heating that PEX pipes are the gold standard of making drinking water and heating installations.
Okay, I'll do a little bit of Chinese interpretation for this part. 所以刚刚 Fred 在介绍的就是在我们讲到水管之前，他所介绍的其实就是 REHAU 在发展到水管这个工艺之前，他们做的其他的不同的创新，包括像在汽车上面的，像火箭、飞机上面的一些硬件，以及门窗系统、供暖系统等等的。但是他在这篇这个 presentation 上面主要介绍的就关于这个 REHAU 的水管为什么能够如此的得到众多公司的青睐，是因为他们从1967年开始就已经使用塑料，然后甚至是聚乙烯以及另外的一个叫做 PEXA 的产品，也是一种塑料的化合物，然后来制造水管。在旧一点的时间，像1967年基本上是以铁为主的水管。那么它第一非常容易生锈，然后第二的话呢，它的抗压的能力其实也是不如像这种塑料类的化合物的。因此REHAU 在不断的发展的工艺期间呢，把这个水管抗压、抗爆以及净化，就是水管内部光滑的这些工艺做到了极致。在过去40年的时间里REHAU 在全世界使用跟制造的水管可以绕从地球到月球一共7次半的来回，所以说从他们的使用量上，过去40年的使用量上，我们也可以看到这个产品一定是非常受人信赖的，才会不断的在这个行业里面被重复的使用。Okay, shall I go to the next slide?
Yes, thank you, Lily. So the second innovation that I want to briefly describe is our compression sleeve technology. So as I said earlier, REHAU invented or was the first one mass-producing PEX pipes in the late 1970s. So in the beginning, we were selling pipe. But what we quickly realized is that the weakest part of any system is always the connection. And we were selling the pipe, and our partners were then using fittings from other suppliers and making the installation. And we said, we want to offer everything out of one hand, but at the same time, we do not believe that the existing solutions on the market are the right ones. So REHAU went back to the drawing table, and we actually came up with a connection technology that still today is the gold standard in connecting PEX pipes. So it's the so-called compression sleeve technology. And the revolutionary change is that instead of having a pipe, putting a fitting on it and crimp it, we are expanding the pipe, pushing the fitting in. PEX material has a memory effect. So once you expand it, it will always want to go back to the original form. So it will automatically close back on the fitting. And then we have a little like wing, like a sleeve that we slide over to just fix the whole connection. So that's again a good example where we are not just offering something that's widely available on the market, but we are coming up with new solutions with added value and offer that to our customer.
Okay, I'll do another explanation for this part. 所以刚刚在 Fred 对这篇 PPT 的演讲过程中，我了解到就是在1987年的时候，当他们的这个聚乙烯的水管已经非常成熟的时候，他们发现市场上的一个问题就是水管的这个管道本身，他们现在已经做得很成熟了，但是他们的水管跟水管之间连接的这个配件，还是要通过就是其他的供应商那边来购买。然后他们就发现，目前当时市场上的这些配件呢，全部都是从外面，然后把这个水管嫁接到一起。那么有没有一个什么更好的方法，能够把这个水管以及配件组合起来，然后减少任何问题的发生呢？于是 REHAU 他们就创造了一个新的配件，不是从外部连接水管，而是从里面把这个水管撑开，然后把这个连接件放到水管的内部，而不是说从外部进行一个包裹而这个独家的创新的技术一直到现在都一直是金牌的，就非常高等级的一个行业的标准，并且大家也可以看到目前已经有这么多，就是左边的500个百万是5个亿的 fittings， 就这个应该叫做压缩管或者说压缩件套这样的一个小的零件，但是没想到还可以起到这么大的作用，所以也就让 REHAU 的水管以及它的安装从而变成了一个系统，所以只要你一起用，那么绝对从使用寿命上以及它的质量上都是不会有什么特别大的问题的。OK, next one.
Lily. So on the next slide, I think it's important also to point out that product innovation is one thing, to have the right products, but we went further than that. So you need to have also other surrounding factors that are supporting your innovative culture. And one is the working space. And this is the picture that I like a lot. It's very old school, as you can see. It's from 1966, and this is in our global headquarter in Germany. And that was the first open space office that was done in Germany. Nowadays, we all know this working style, so most of us are working in open space offices. But at that time, it was very uncommon, and especially in Germany, it was very uncommon. But our company founder, again, said we need to have collaboration, cooperation between different departments, between different people. They need to see each other, hear each other, and by working together, cooperating together, we will have a better atmosphere for innovation. So this is where REHAU was also, again, one of the first open space offices companies back in Germany. So it's not just innovation, it's not just focusing on products, but you also need to have the surroundings that enable innovation. If we go to the next slide, that's one that I personally like. I made marketing, so I'm a bit from the marketing side. And it shows interesting also our REHAU brand over the last 75 years. You see, in the late 1940s, companies did not spend a lot of effort on branding. As you see, it's basically just a text, and it says something like leather factory in Rehau. That was the logo at that time. But then you see, we actually evolved, and we built up a brand at some point, taking the plastics into the logo, but from the 1970s, even dropping plastics because of environmental concern. It's not always something you want to have in your company logo. So we just focused on our brand REHAU. Then there was a big change in 2006 where we started with the claim polymer solutions, where we want to say we are basically doing unlimited solutions for every customer in the world. We have the right solutions for you. So that was the first time we had a brand that was a bit more directed also towards the end consumer, to have an attractive brand design, attractive internet presence, and so on. And if you see now up there in the corner, our new claim that was just launched about 2 years ago, called Engineering Progress, Enhancing Lives. So that is capturing now both parts of our business. Engineering Progress is to connect with B2B customers, so business to business customers. But Enhancing Life also stands to the core what we do for our end consumers. In the end, we are doing products that improve the quality of people's life. May it be with our underfloor heating systems, with our drinking water systems, with our automotive polymer bumpers, etc. So in the end, our products improve the quality of people's life. And that is what we also want to show in our claim, their engineering progress, enhancing life. So it's interesting to also see how that evolves. If you go to the next slide, that is now a very good example of a company that is traditionally a B2B company moving into the sphere of the end consumer. And that is a campaign from Russia. Russia is for us actually a very interesting market because we entered it in the early 1990s, just after the fall of the Soviet Union over there. So we were spending a lot of money building up the brand. Actually, at that time, we hired the marketing manager in Russia from Coca-Cola and asked him to build up the brand REHAU in Russia. And today we have a brand awareness of 60% in Russia. So that means if you're on the streets in Moscow and you stop 10 people, 6 people will know the brand REHAU. So there we did a lot for brand awareness, and we're having a lot of campaigns that focus on people, on human interactions. And that picture that you see there was a campaign that we did to promote underfloor heating, where we hired some male and female models, and they were stopping people on the street, giving them a hug, and transferring heat from them to the other people to promote underfloor heating. I'm aware that this is not a campaign that would work in China or any other Asian country, but in Russia it did work very well, and we got a lot of coverage in news medias and newspapers for that. So that's just a good where we are connecting the brand REHAU also with people and everyday's life of people. And on the next slide, a little bit related to that, for us it's very important to also connect with the customer. And these are some pictures that I took when I was in China, some events that we did. So our main business, so as you're all aware, most end consumers buy basically an empty apartment, and then they go to a shopping center like the Mecca line, and then they are buying the windows, the carpet, the heating, the plumbing, furniture, etc. And this is where we work then together with our partners who install and sell the underfloor heating to the end consumer. We went together with them to the places where the end consumer is making the purchase decision, mostly in these shopping centers, home decoration malls. And then we had always in the weekend a show there for the whole family where we showed the products, but also very important, tell more about the brand, about the German culture. So we had a lot of events there, some German to say we are not just a company making products, but we are also a German company connecting with the end consumer, with the end user of our products. And I personally really enjoyed these events because you get the best feedback you get from the market about your products, how they use it, what is important for them. And based on that, you can then also change your messaging, your marketing material to really give them the information that they need. And yeah, this is my second last slide here. Not just one back, Lily, please. These are the company values that we stand for. I mean, I said now many times we are a German company. We are still a family-owned company. So our company founder He passed away about 1 year ago at the age of 95. So he worked 70 years almost in the company. Now his 2 sons are in charge, and the 3rd generation is already getting involved in the business. So we are still a family-owned business. And for us, the values of trust, reliability, and innovation are the core of what we are standing for. And everything we do is along these 3 core values. We talked a lot about innovation, trust. You can really trust our products, very high quality products, and also reliability. Being a family-owned company, we think in generations and we don't think in business cycles. So this is really at the core at where we are. And on the last slide, this is where I would like to end. I promised you to a bit of a different presentation than just a company presentation, to also enable you to start thinking and see what else you can do maybe in your daily business life a little bit different. So final words are: first, embrace change and always see it as an opportunity. Don't see change and disruption as a threat. Challenge the status quo. If you don't do it, others will. Third, always keep the target group in mind. It's always nice to have an innovation workshop and come up with good ideas, but many companies forget to always think about the end consumer. How will it be received? So really keep the target group in mind. The world is getting digitalized. Are you? I think you all with a Chinese background, I think you are much more digitalized than most other countries. So I think China is on or Asian countries in general are on a very good track over there. But especially for big companies in the B2B area like Rehau, digitalization is not always in the center. So it's really something where we all need to work on, and we are absolutely aware of that, and we're having a lot of initiatives in that way. Always treat your team and your external partners in a fair and reasonable way. This is really the same in every single country. I worked in so many countries, but the way you treat your partners, the way you treat your team says a lot about you and makes working really pleasurable. And finally, have fun and enjoy what you're doing. And I think that picture says it all. That's again from one of the, we called it Rehau days in the Meckerline shopping centers, where we had a little Oktoberfest with a German dancing band, with some beer, with some hot dogs. So it's really having fun, because if you don't have fun and don't like what you're doing, change it. So that's just my final words. And I hope that this was a little bit different, and hope interesting insights into the company Rehau.
Cool. Thanks, Fred. I think what you just shared is really interesting to me, because I can tell how open-minded you are, and also how much in terms of your company develop in a certain way helped you to become who you are right now. It's really interesting. And I bet you still love your German sausages.
I actually just had one for lunch before coming here. But I'm not having that every day. So it's just once a week I'm having my German food.
Yeah, it's really important to keep your heritage.
Actually, maybe if I and with that, Lily, my favorite Chinese food is actually Sichuan hot pot.
Yeah,
and I'm really happy that I'm living very close to Chinatown here in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And I just love my Chinese hot pot, and there especially the Sichuan hot pot. So that's
I'm
pretty sure
for that one. For hot pot, this is like the biggest common point you have with our audience right now. We all love hot pot.
All right, 谢谢。
Fred 刚刚讲的这些内容，包括故事，包括他个人的经历，以及包括品牌的成长，我觉得都是特别有意思的。我相信一个品牌的创新力和专注力足以让我们为他们的产品点赞了，更不要提他们非常广泛的应用，以及为疑难杂症的项目提供的解决方案。那么接下来呢，我们会着重于像我们公开课主题所说的REHAU的水管方向，然后呢是会由我们新西兰建筑科技经理 Steven 为大家做详细的讲解。Hey Steven, thank you for your patience. I hope you picked up some words there.
Sorry, can you say that again, please?
I said, I'll teach you some Chinese word after this webinar. Okay, just whenever you're ready, you can start your presentation.
Mm-hmm. Looks like you need to teach some English words as well.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'll start. If you want to, you're on to the first slide. So just a little bit of background. I I am English, but I've lived and worked in the UK, Australia, now New Zealand, and spent time in Singapore and Kuala Lumpur as well. I have, I suppose, sat around a table and had many hot pot in Kuala Lumpur and in Singapore with being the only English person probably around the table when there may have been 20 others from throughout Asia, and they'd be talking in many different dialects and everything else. And I think I was lucky. I had one trusted friend from Kuala Lumpur, and his name was Wen Fat Loke. And he would just look at me and say, Steve, yes, no, good, don't do it. So he was my food guide and my sort of drinking guide as well. So I very much relied on him to make sure what I was eating was going to be good for me at the end of the day. Sadly, my Mandarin is poor. My Cantonese would be even worse. Hokkien would be even worse than that. So I'll try and go slowly in English with a very much of a Somerset sort of twang. So I will speak as slowly as possible. So again, I'm Stephen. I head up the Building Technologies division for REHAU here in New Zealand. I've been with New Zealand, with REHAU for about 7 years now. So on the slide that you're looking at, sort of Fred mentioned earlier and went over, obviously highlighted the global industries that REHAU supplies into. What we're looking at on the slide is probably just a slightly closer look at some of the sort of industries that we service in New Zealand, Australia, those being civil, what REHAU calls building technologies, furniture solutions, and windows and doors. Next slide, please, Lou. Cool. So today we're just going to focus a little bit more and take a closer look at what we like to talk about as hot and cold water products. Plus, we're going to have a little introduction into a new product called PINC. Now that's P-I-N-C, and PINC stands for Push in Connect. So basically what the product does, the name says. And for PINC, New Zealand is the first country, I suppose I would say, in the REHAU world to launch this product as well. So it's a very exciting product. It sort of dovetails back into the innovation and everything else that Fred has been showing you on the previous slides. Next slide, Lily.
Sorry, I just do a little bit of interpretation here. 那么其实我想说啊，我们舒适的居住环境往往在你看不到的地方。如果你问我想要把钱去花在一个去提升居住质量的这样的一个改造项目里面的话呢，我会选择一定去换一套供水水管。因为老旧的金属水管不仅噪声大，并且还容易滋生细菌啊，然后生锈啊等等的，更不要提漏水这个在新西兰偶尔还是会见得到的这样的情况。而且生活用水的健康跟安全真的是重中之重。像大家看到图片中左边的这个冷热水的这个系统，它是来自德国瑞好铂净系列啊，英文名叫做 REHAU Raw Titan. Did I say that right, Stephen? Raw Titan?
Raw Titan.
Yeah.
I'm an Englishman and I can't pronounce it correctly.
Yeah. 中文名字我们就管它叫做铂净系列了啊。它的这个给水管道呢是内壁非常光滑的，不容易积累污垢，而且减少了水在运输过程中的污染的可能性。而且区别于非常传统的 PPR 的塑料水管，铂净水管也给这个水的管道啊系统啊做过极端的温度测试。在新西兰这样就是零下，它基本上没有什么零下，除非是在南岛啊，就我们日常的生活使用是绝对不用担心水管冻裂的。而且它还有一个好处，这个相信大家都比较有体会，就是半夜的时候，如果你的邻居或者说你们家的某一位就住的人起来上厕所，然后冲了一下水，它的那个噪音真的有的时候会大到把你从睡梦中给惊醒。那么像左侧的这个 Titan 的 铂金生活水管，它的静音排水管道系统是非常厉害的，而且它拥有这个双重的降噪系统，3层的结构可以减少水流产生的噪音，并且呢，在用水的时候，噪音可以降至17分贝，给你的家一个安静的夜晚。而在我们的图片右侧的话呢，这个是接下来 Steven 也会详细讲到的 REHAU 的 Pink 系列，它的这个 PINC 是 stand for push 和 connect， 就是推入，然后以及把它连接到一起。Okay, Steven, you can now continue.
Cool. On to the next slide. Cool. So earlier on, Fred mentioned that REHAU is one of the earliest manufacturers of PEX-A pipe. And obviously, when they were manufacturing the pipe, they thought that there was definitely a better way to connect the pipe together. So here it just shows you what I would call, just say, our core existing products. On the left of the screen, you have a polymer fitting. And on the right side of the screen, you have a brass fitting. So the REHAU developed the polymer fitting really to give the end consumer and the customer a more hygienic drinking water solution, as opposed to, say, traditional products being used in traditional brass. With our REHAU's brass products, they're made from DZR brass, which means they have a low lead content and again offer an extremely high fitting alternative for safe and hygienic drinking water. On the note of DZR brass, so the DZR brass is really all to do with protecting against the disintegration resistance of brass. So that basically means that the zinc has been removed from the brass to help the brass fitting maintain its structural strength.
Yeah, I will also do a bit of interpretation here. 在我们看到的这个 core products 它们的核心产品左侧的这个叫做 PXSR 的一个管件，它其实是一个非常棒的管道系统，因为它的接头提供了非常终极的卫生以及耐腐蚀的性能，并且能够去抵抗像建筑工地上有一些有腐蚀性的溶剂。而右边的这个呢，它其实是非常明显一个黄铜的配件。那么它的黄铜接头呢，是像燃气冷热水以及供暖应用的这个通用的解决方案。就不管您是为燃气去接管道，还是水管，还是说供暖，这个黄铜都是可以应用的。并且两个管件它都有一个共同的好处，就是能够保证里面的水质绝对的干净。但是两者相比来的话呢，前者就是左边的这个灰色的产品它的重量会更轻一点，而后者的话，也就是黄色的这个黄铜制品，它是更传统的黄铜造就的，因此它的重量会相对的重一些。Okay.
Cool. Thanks, Lily. So earlier, Fred mentioned that I think the amount of PEX pipe that's been manufactured by REHAU would take you to the moon and back, I think 7 times over. So on the screen, you're just seeing another picture of the pipe. And as Fred explained, it's made from a cross-linked high-density polyurethane, which not only gives that pipe its strength, but it also gives the pipe great flexibility as well. So it's probably one of the most flexible pipes for an installer to use and install, which also allows them to reduce the number of fittings that's actually used, which also then helps improve the water flow throughout the property or throughout the commercial building. Do you want me to stop there, Lily?
Yeah. 这个产品的话呢，其实它并没有去讲特别多很 technical 的东西但是我们文字上面也是有体现的。目前我们看到的这个水管PEXA 以及它的同系列产品，其实是你可以在市面上找到的最具有就是抗压性，而且呢，它的就是这个曲度就是灵活性也是非常的很难被比得过的，并且在一定的这个条件下，它的使用寿命可以长达50年，并且能够承受热水达到70摄氏度这样的一个温度。
Oh, sorry, Lily, can you just go back?
Yeah.
Cool. So it's just on the pipe again. The pipe has a 50-year life expectancy when it's operated at especially for hot water, when it's operating at a continuous temperature of 70 degrees and under pressure. The other thing to note is obviously any REHAU product obviously works and performs within AS and NZS standards, and a note on the pipe, our pipe actually exceeds those standards as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Lily. So just over the next sort of 7 or 8 slides, we just wanted to give you an insight into some of the projects where REHAU has been installed over the years and where it's currently being installed as well. So what you're actually looking at here is Big Chill. There are freezer works, and across all Big Chill's projects, they specify and I think demand that REHAU products are used. And the products that are used in this particular freezer work were for underfloor heating, so that they can regulate the temperature in the freezer works. And I think there was over 5,000 meters of pipe used.
Yeah.
Cool. No need to next. Cool.
Yeah, I feel these are quite straightforward, and I'm pretty sure our audience will be able to understand it.
Okay. So
cool.
Yes, keep moving through. So with this project, it's Somerset Retirement Villages. Somerset have, I think 7, probably 8 projects. They've currently got 4 new projects underway, and their main focus is retirement villages. With this particular project, the installer was highly instrumental in choosing REHAU for the project, and his decision to use REHAU was mainly based around the fact that the trust within the product, and they wanted to ensure that there were no leaks, because any product that's obviously behind the wall, if you have a issue with a leaky fitting or a burst pipe, then the repercussions from the cost value can actually run into the tens and thousands of dollars. So Somerset tend to use and specify REHAU as and when possible. Next one. Cool. This is the Sedema Hotel. We actually, REHAU won this contract or project actually about 2.5 years ago, but due to the earthquake, that project is just currently underway. And again, REHAU products are being installed behind the wall to provide obviously clean and safe drinking water. And again, the choice was by the installer and by the developer that the only product they wanted to see behind the wall, not that you see it, but only product being installed behind the wall was REHAU product, because they consider it to be the best and the safest product that you could install behind your wall. Cool. This was another interesting project, and this one is still underway, and it's the sports centre, so the Metro Sports Centre. It's expected, I think, at the moment that it's going to be completed in late 2022. And again, REHAU products were chosen for their trust and the reliability, and the fact that our longevity in the marketplace of over 40 years of design and innovation. Cool. Next one is another Somerset Village project, which I mentioned. They now specify and standardize on installing REHAU behind the wall. I picked this one because normally in a project we only go hot and cold water up to what we call 16 and 20 mil, but on this one the REHAU was installed right the way up to 40 mil. But the project also included our acoustic waste pipe, which actually helps to reduce water flow and noise over habitable areas. And since then, REHAU Piano, which is our acoustic pipe, is now being used on all Somerset retirement villages. Cool. Another, I suppose, interesting project for us, and one that we're particularly sort of proud of. This is the Middlemore Acute Mental Health Care Unit that got completed probably about 12 months ago now. This facility is, I suppose, is highly regarded as a benchmark for the rest of the country. And again, from a REHAU point of view, we're proud that, REHAU products were put behind the wall, because it's critical that there aren't any leaks, there aren't any burst pipes. Otherwise, it becomes expensive and there's too much downtime. Cool. This one's a little bit of a favorite of mine. This is Rose Gardens, which is in Albany, just outside of Auckland. Both the developer and the installer insisted on, again, REHAU products being put in behind the wall. There is 201 apartments, so you could imagine if they didn't put probably what we would consider the most trusted piping system in New Zealand behind the wall, the risk and the exposure on such a large project just wasn't worth it. So it was a keystone project at the time, back in 2017. We've got one more, Lily. And this is, I think a lot of people would recognize this. This is the Pacifica, which is 282 apartments. Depends on your point of view. A lot of people would say this is quite a striking addition to the Auckland skyline. It depends on, I think, on your point of view again on that. But again, its residents are, getting their hot and cold water supplied by REHAU, which is, behind the wall. Cool. So just a little bit earlier, I think we've mentioned pink. So just to sort of focus a little bit more on pink. So pink, as Lily said, stands for Push in Connect, and it's REHAU's newest fitting family member, might be the easiest way to say it. I do have some products in my hand here, but we like to consider it, it's the new addition to the family. What pink does is it removes the need for the installer to carry tools when installing the pipe and fitting. Basically, all they need is a trusty pair of REHAU pipe cutters. What that effectively does then is make the installation faster, but it still provides them with the safety and the trust and the reliability known with REHAU products. And as mentioned, Lily. As mentioned earlier, New Zealand is the first country in the REHAU world to have this product, so we're pretty excited about it. We were going to kill those, weren't we? Can we just go to, what have you got there, Lily? Can we move? I think we've missed a slide somehow. That one. Cool. Thanks, Lily. So this is a case study done on pink. So on the pushing connect, push fit fitting. Pictured here is obviously the construction of it. It's a 6 townhouse build, and the installer chose pink because he was under a lot of time pressure due to the delays in construction and delays of other materials. So he chose to install pink in the belief that it would actually help him complete the project on time and reduce the installation. Originally, he was estimating that he would probably complete the project in saving about 40%. What at the end of the project, he worked out and calculated that by installing pink, he could actually reduce the installation time by 65%, which was it exemplifies, I suppose, what the push fit and the push connection product is all about.
Yeah, I will do a little bit of interpret for this part. Pink 的话呢，这个产品啊，它其实回到上一个的这个 PPT， 像这个位置的话呢，大家可以看到它有不同的这个结合。然后这个产品的话，它也是在新西兰第一次就是着陆，第一次在新西兰被使用，在其他的国家可能还没有这个产品上线啊。它的特殊的点在于它是一种推入式的技术，可以加快它的安装的速度，并且也有REHAU高质量呀、安全性啊以及可靠性的这些标准，因为它是按照最高的规格去设计并且制造的，也是几十年来这个聚合物产品开发的成果。根据我的了解呢，这个产品可以随着客户去想要，然后能够有更简单的安装，并且更高的生产力，并且这些时间跟精力解决了，那么对您来讲是不是利润的增长潜力也是非常有机会去实现的。然后呢，这个 Pink 系列的产品就满足了这些的需求，为任何的管道项目带来了效率以及便利。然后大家可以看到我们这个项目啊，它是在基督城的一个项目，然后这个项目呢，它是一个6套的一个联排，在每一栋中都使用了 Pink 的系统，将楼上的厨房和洗衣房以及楼上的2间浴室来连接起来，就水管连接起来。它的这个开发商说啊，因为这个系统对他们的团队来讲虽然是比较新的，但是在上了培训之后安装是比较容易的并且最后将它的管道安装时间减少了大约65%，因为它的这个项目是在疫情期间不断的被 delay 了然后用了这个新的技术之后，它的所需时间节约了65%，让它的团队也有足够的时间去处理该项目所需要的其他管道工作并且最后是这个按照的项目所需的时间去交付了，并且没有影响最终的质量。
Cool. I think we've covered off most of the content in those 2 slides, Lily. So I will sort of just show the product. It is difficult to see, but
it looks fine to me.
Oh, cool. This is a clear prototype actually of a completed fitting. And one of the, I suppose, key benefits or the most interesting things is that hopefully you can all see there is a pink indicator ring there. And
was that the pink one or was that the transparent one?
You can see the pink there slightly, I hope. Yeah, cool. So that is an actual visual indicator for the installer so that they can easily see that the pipe, that the connection has been made correctly as well. Also operates, or it's visible under black light or ultraviolet light. And was also one of the main drivers, I like to think, at my end for naming the product, because the pink, there's ring, the ring is pink. We also, sort of worked on around naming the product the same thing. So and it just worked perfectly that, push in, connect, pink. So, but it's a simple product to use. Ideally, from an installer's point of view, they just need to ensure they cut the pipe straight and push it in, and that's it. And that's what we're a lot of feedback we're getting from the market now is the advantage that it's offering to not only developers but installers for that speed of installation. But what you've got behind you is REHAU as a brand, because REHAU probably is definitely in New Zealand regarded as the safest and most trusted brand. Most installers would probably say to you as well, if they were building their own home, they put REHAU behind the wall. And that sort of goes to my last point. I think what is most critical, back onto that last slide. Yeah. The sort of main message here is really that what goes behind your wall probably matters much more than what's in front of your wall. Yes, aesthetically pleasing, a sink, a bath, a shower tap or whatever else. Those items, I suppose, are easily replaced. But if you don't put the right product behind your wall and you get a leaky fitting or a burst pipe, then you're potentially looking at tens of thousands of dollars to actually rip a floor out, take a wall out, take a shower out to actually get in. and do that maintenance and repair. So from our point of view, I think that if anybody's building, developing, be it single home, multi-residential, whatever they're looking at, I think one of the most critical things they need to think about is, what am I putting behind the wall, or what is the installer, the plumber, recommending goes behind the wall? And I would encourage everybody to say, no, I want REHAU behind the wall, whether it's traditional compression, as Fred demonstrated earlier, where we expand the pipe and then push a sleeve over it, or whether you go with the innovational new technology, the push fit technology. I think it's most critical that people do spend that a little bit more time considering what goes behind the wall.
Yeah, cool.
That's it for me, apart from the slide Fred showed earlier as well about everything REHAU stands for, which is trust, innovation, and reliability.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will stop sharing my screen now. Thank you so much for what you have to say about the brand, about the products, and thank you for sharing all the projects. I'm pretty sure that's lots of inspiration for the audience today. Thank you, guys. 非常感谢 Fred 跟 Steven 今天给我们带来的很精彩的分享啊！因为对很多朋友们来讲，可能对水管的第一印象就是，哎呀，只要它不漏水就行了。但是实际上，水压、水质以及漏水、噪音这些，往往跟我们的生活特别息息相关的东西，真的是一个好的这个好质量的水管就能去解决的呀。所以说 REHAU 成为就是在新西兰也好，在全世界也好，最具信赖的水管品牌，一定是有它存在的意义的。那么今天我希望大家听完了我们的公开课之后，会在就是选这个水管的时候去想一下，哦，原来我可以就是多花那么一点时间或者多一点点的钱，就能够去享用这个特别高质量，让您高枕无忧的这样的就是住宅的质量。Okay, we actually have a question for you guys. Maybe I think, Steven, this will be the question for you. Two questions. One is, what is the warranty of REHAU's pipe products? And the second one is, where do you distribute? Like, where can people find it? Where can they buy it? And who can buy it? If people want to do some DIY, can they do that?
Right, from a warranty point of view, all products come with a 25-year warranty. Although there is a different life expectancy, but all products come with a 25-year warranty.
Yeah.
The products are only available via a distribution network. So the plumbing distributors like Myco's, Plumbing World, Reese, Harrison Bloy, and a few others. And our products can only be installed by a qualified plumber.
Yeah.
So they're not, for want of a better word, a DIY product, even though the push fit connection is relatively simple to do. Obviously, there's a lot of other things that need to happen in the background if you're piping out a house, definitely. So, available through those merchant networks.
Cool. Yeah, thank you
so much. And I would always say make sure a specified and trained REHAU plumber does the installation, definitely.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. 那么今天的话呢，我们了解了这么多关于水管的小知识，以及为什么要去选择REHAU的产品。我相信大家对自己的项目或者是对新家的 renovation 也会有一定的考量了。那么不要忘记，我们这个本期公开课的问题是REHAU的什么产品是在新西兰第一个发布的？知道答案的您呢，不妨到我们公开课的详情页去扫码进群，然后参与到我们等一下在群内发起的有奖问答的环节。第一个回答正确的朋友呢，就会获得我们送出的价值100纽币的生鲜达代金券1张。非常感谢您对我们公开课今天的关注，然后我们下周四下午3点半不见不散啊！我们还是会有同样的公开课，以及我们下一期的演讲的嘉宾是来自 Grant 的这个关于电方面非常有就是 知识去分享的2位演讲嘉宾，以及来自我们新西兰华人电工协会的叫做 Bernie 的一位朋友，也会有很多在智能家居方面的一些知识去跟大家分享，包括一些热点话题以及趋势。那么今天还是那句话，一定记得扫码加群，以及感谢您的关注。如果您不想错过我们的公开课的话，记得点击屏幕上的这个关注主播，关注建筑会的公开课。那么之后每个周4的3点半，我们都会有精彩为您呈上。Okay, thank you guys again for tuning in for the webinar today. Thank you so much for your time and effort. I'm pretty sure everyone enjoyed it, including myself, and hopefully to have you back sometime soon in the future.
Cool.
非常感谢
Thank you.
大家的关注，下周4见，拜拜。
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.